Hello there and welcome to the Wikia Fan versus Critic series. I'm Matt Atchity, editor-in-chief of RottenTomatoes.com. I'm representing the critics today, and representing the fan community is Greater Good. Thanks for joining us again, Greater Good.
Matt. Great to be on again.
Today we're going to be talking about episode 8 of season 4 of Game of Thrones. It's called The Mountain and the Viper. We're going to be talking about a few elements of the show, but let's start out with the big one, which is that great fight scene at the end of the show between Oberyn Martell and Gregor Clegane. This is a big, very anticipated scene. It's really beautifully shot, really well choreographed, very exciting, and I think pretty shocking even for people like me who had read the books. I think that was probably pretty shocking for you as well, Greater Good, as to really how graphic it ended up being, right?
I actually didn't find it that shocking. It's actually every bit as graphic as it is in the book, to be honest.
I don't know about you, but I was watching this with some people who didn't know what was coming, and they practically jumped out of their seats. But I'm kind of curious at this point what we would consider to be the number 2 fight scene. I'm going to let you go, Greater Good, and tell us what you think would be the next best fight scene that we've seen in Game of Thrones so far.
Well, personally, I'd go for the one between Beric and the Hound in season 3. I thought that was very well choreographed, really intense, and it was really interesting to see the Hound going up against fire, which, as everyone knows, is basically his only fear. So, yeah, I thought that was really exciting.
I think you got a good point there. Both of those Clegane brothers, they make for some really good fight scenes. One of the big reveals that we got was Jorah Mormont finally got caught out for spying, which had dated back to the beginning of the series. He hadn't really been doing much spying for anyone, for the Baratheons or for the Lannisters in a long time, but he got caught, came to light. Daenerys and the rest of her inner circle found out, and he got exiled. Daenerys was very upset with him and doesn't even really let him defend himself, and kind of sends him packing. A lot of questions have come up. A lot of people say that they don't agree with Daenerys and the way she handled this situation. Greater Good, do you think she's making the right decision here in getting rid of her longtime, most trusted advisor?
Well, no, to be honest, because you have to keep in mind that when Jorah first came into her service, of course he was a spy for Varys. He didn't have the same relationship with her as he did then. Like he saw her basically as a means to an end, a way for him to get back to Westeros, but as time passed, he grew to love her, obviously, and he advised her through a lot of hard times. And as Tywin said to Tommen earlier in the season, great rulers always follow their advisors. So, no, I think she was a bit extreme in that instance.
All right, Greater Good. I'm going to have to mute you on there because I'm going to say that I don't think that Daenerys had any other choice here. In fact, I think that I think she did the best she could, being merciful. She could have ordered Jorah killed. She threatens to have his head thrown into the bay. She could have done that right off the bat. But I think that the most merciful thing she could have done and still maintain any semblance of leadership in the eyes of her followers was to exile him. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about what happened with Sansa and Littlefinger up at the Eyrie. Littlefinger is kind of on trial, so to speak, with a council that is in power at the Eyrie and trying to decide whether he himself is going to get pushed out the moon door. And Sansa is brought in to speak about what she witnessed, and Littlefinger gives the impression that he's afraid of what she's going to say. She ends up exonerating him. She ends up backing him up, which is a big moment for Sansa. We see her start to fully, or if not fully, we start to see her play the Game of Thrones. Some people have brought up that Littlefinger may have a blind spot with her. I don't think that's the case. I think Littlefinger is absolutely banking on being the smartest guy in any room that he's in.
Sorry,
and as much as
No, I think Littlefinger definitely does have a blind spot towards Sansa at this point because, well, when she defended him when he was being questioned, when questioned by the Littlefinger was quite surprised by that. He fully expected her to condemn him at that point. So I think he thinks he's in her good graces at this point, which is very naive of him, admittedly.
All right, Greater Good. Well, you make some good points. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree there. make sure to join us next week when we're back to discuss our thoughts on Season 4, Episode 9 of Game of Thrones. On behalf of Greater Good, I'm Matt Atchity, Editor-in-Chief for RottenTomatoes.com. Thank you for joining us.